You're listening to
KWNK
LP
977
97.7 FM.
You are listening to Dream Sequence on KWNK-LP 97.7 FM.
Hi, I'm Christine. You may recognize my voice from my radio show Dream Sequence. KWNK has asked me to show you around my studio and how I do my show. And I'm fascinated by environment, so I thought it may be fun to do a little more than just show you my computer where I do my show. And I wanted to start out in my stereo room because essentially it's where I do most of my listening and a lot of my DJs come together for the shows. And then from there, we'll move in my production space. Well, like we're kidding, it's my iMac, and we'll meet my audio engineer, Mr. Simon LeBone. Thank you for joining me.
Christine is a lifelong fan of music and radio. What attracts her to the format is
the idea of a capsule of time, because I'm really an 80s kid, so I absolutely grew up making mixtapes. So I love this idea of you have X amount of time and you create something in that space. So the idea of doing a radio show super feeds that 80s kid part of me in creating that environment for somebody. I think my goal is to take about 50 minutes where somebody can go somewhere else, which I think probably right now is really crucial, but I kind of want just somebody to shut their brain off and let me take them somewhere for 50 minutes, and hopefully it's enjoyable. We find ourselves in my studio. It's essentially an iMac in a corner of a room in my house. It's not just that solely. I have a USB interface which runs my mic. It's usually in there and plugged in, but since we are live and the mics are hot, I don't want them to be hot, or it would be that noise that Nick Rhodes heard in the View to a Kill video. When he's on the Eiffel Tower and the noise comes through and he's screaming. We don't want that. So I've unplugged my mic at least for these purposes. Essentially, I have all this music on my computer that I've either ripped from my collection, which, by the way, here's a CD burner. I'm only through M because even though I've wanted to burn my collection for years, it's daunting. And maybe I'm a little lazy. I get minutia and I'm just over stuff. So expect to hear more of bands N through Z coming up in future shows when I get to them. But I digress. So essentially on here is all playlists. All these white things in the margins going up are playlists. So I'll get an idea. I'll either shoot myself a text or an email, or just sit down and kind of start putting some songs in that idea. And these are all sitting here hoping to be a playlist at some point in their life. They may or may not make it. From there, when I want to actually produce a show, I just pull that over and I use GarageBand. It came with my computer. I know a lot of people use Ableton and other more sophisticated studio apps, but this works for me. I essentially only run 3 channels. One's my vocal, the other 2 are my songs that I alternate mix between. And it just works for me. It's easy to fade in and out, cut stuff, edit stuff, probably because I know it, but it's a really intuitive, simple interface. And so that is what I use. And essentially I have my mic here, headphones, and this is where I sit and produce all my shows. I've done my shows at home from day one, and was so happy to get asked to do day one shows. And I just like the idea of doing them from home because I can do a show at 2 a.m, or I can sit down at 11 in the morning. I just like the whole idea of that flexibility, because sometimes I'm feeling creative and it hits me, and then other times when it's expected of me, it's the last thing I want to do. So anyway, I know this is a new series. Hopefully I fulfilled what they were looking for. I think we just wanted to intimate ourselves and let people know our process behind the scenes, since hopefully you listen and know me. It's just a little more of a look into my environment. So thank you for watching.
Be sure to listen to Dream Sequence every other Tuesday at 6 p.m.